Because of the color of my skin, everybody knows when they see me what I am, or at least they think they know what I am based on my skin color and not the content of my intellect, the content of my kindness, or the person that I am is not really based on what's on the outside. And because of what's on the outside, most people shut themselves off to what's on the inside. That's something that I've had to deal with for 44 years. I expect it. I don't accept it, but I expect it.
We can do things like embody inequality, literally bring into our bodies exposures to toxic substances, to hazardous conditions, or to interpersonal stressors. We can embody those aspects of inequality, or conversely, embody those aspects of privilege, and then end up with biological manifestations, biologic expressions, as it were, in this case of race relations. So that while there may not be innate fundamental differences between, say, African Americans and whites, there may be still biologic differences that are acquired because of the fact of living in a racist society.
Stress plays a very important role in all of our lives, and certainly when you're in a social environment that causes you to sort of be on guard much of your time. Has it been measured? It probably hasn't been quantitated to the extent that it would be recognized in wide scientific circles. But certainly anyone who lives in America and has gotten to age 15 or 20 or 30 can give you countless numbers of incidents that have been both subtle and overt. So the mind and body are connected, and it would be hard to say that people would not be internalizing some of the stress that they encounter in their workaday lives, in their social lives, in just about everything that they do.
It's hard for me to admit racism has diminished me. I want to be strong. I want to be able to stand up to the test and say, oh yeah, I've weathered the storm and I've come out and I'm, you know, some kind of hero or something. I don't see myself that way. I see myself as beaten, beaten down, but not overcome. Just, I've had my bout with it. I've dealt with it to the best of my ability, but I'm weathered, you know, um, like a rock that, sits by the shore. Every time it gets hit by a wave, it's a little bit less than it was before. That's how I feel.
The African American experience in the health system in many ways has paralleled our citizenship status. And as we know, we really did not get the voting rights until the mid to late 1960s. And it was during that same period of time that the healthcare facilities in the United States were desegregated by law. So prior to that, it was a completely segregated health system, and it really wasn't until the late 1960s that African Americans began to get even access to the lower tiers of the multi-tiered system in the United States, and that tiering exists today.
Basically beginning probably around 11 years ago, that was when the first really good data started coming out about these disparities in treatment. And the first studies were really done on administrative data. And what I mean by that are kind of chart review type of data you can get from, files that Medicare uses. And what we've seen over those kind of ensuing 10 years are more and more data, including my own, that really show that African Americans are diagnosed less frequently when they have signs and symptoms that really point towards heart disease. There was a study published that looked at scenarios in which actors basically presented all with the same symptoms. So they basically gave the same history, talked about having the same symptoms, etc. And physicians who viewed these videos were far less likely to refer African American patients for further testing. And that was even, the disparity once again was greatest for African American women.
Racism is alive and well and kicking and hurting. It exists, and that's the biggest hurdle for white folks to understand. Part of it is because white folks, by virtue of their whiteness, and they don't have to do anything else, are benefiting from a racist system. Many doors that say closed to me open up when the white person approaches, and they don't even realize there was a door there. It's not only that the door is opening, they don't even know that there was a door. That's the biggest hurdle, is understanding that racism is alive and well and exists in this country. It's affecting people adversely. It's affecting the whole nation.
Even in this world where there's a lot of oppression, there's some things that I can take on and do for myself and my community and my family that will reduce my likelihood of dying of cancer, reduce my likelihood of dying of cardiovascular disease. And I'm not sure that in a community-wide way we've accomplished that, to simply say racism is a given. It's not just you, it's not just your individual behavior, it's racism is a given. But within that context, there's some things you can do. I think that's liberating for folks because they recognize that there's some system changes that have to come about, but that those system changes shouldn't limit their desire to get knowledge, their desire to get information, their desires to improve their community so that it's a place that they can exercise and live in healthy.
Keith Hartgrove, young brother, suffered a very critical heart attack, and the Lord brought him back. And our solos do none other than Brother Keith Hartgrove. Hero, 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 hero.